So Passy, the 16th arrondissement today, and I'm starting out actually while we're waiting for people to join us. I'm in a very cool covered market here. And I'll walk us through here in a moment. Covered market of Passy. Great animated, vibrant local atmosphere here. Still with some Christmas decorations up there, of course. So welcome everybody. Again, if you're new to this idea, these are my weekly live walks through Paris in real time. Guided walks, because I'm a full-time tour guide. That's one of the things I do when I'm running around town throughout the week. So let's get started here. We're at the bakery of the covered market in Passy, the 16th arrondissement. This is, in fact, tomorrow precisely is the celebration of the Epiphany from the Bible. Long story short, the three wise men, when they came to visit Christ, the baby Jesus, this celebrates that. So tomorrow, the 6th of January, the Epiphany, not just for tomorrow, but all throughout this previous week and the week or two that will follow. Everywhere in these bakeries, you're going to see these cakes. So what's the story with these cakes? They're called les galettes des rois, or king's cakes, and you can see the crown there. And there's always a bit of fanfare surrounding these, always in January throughout France. Inside, there's something, merci beaucoup. The baker lady's talking to me. So inside they bake une fève. The word fève means bean, like a broad bean, and that used to be years and years ago what they put inside of these, an actual bean. Whoever gets the bean, as you're eating this with your family or friends, becomes king or queen for the day and gets to wear that crown. Nowadays they still call it une fève, a bean, but it's actually now a little figurine, a trinket that might be ceramic or plastic, and you get to crunch your teeth down onto that sort of a surprise bite, and you become king or queen. So the family tradition, I'm going to take us around to the other side where there are more of these. Look at the macaron. Look at this market, it's glorious. So you can see they've stocked up here for the inevitable customers that'll come through. So to finish this story, what French families do and what I'll be doing with my in-laws tomorrow is you get around the table, you cut this up into pieces for everyone. The youngest in the family, the youngest in the group gets under the table on all fours. And then the person serving will yell out to the person under the table, usually a child, c'est pour qui, who's it for, who is this piece for? And so it's a way for the child or the youngest in the group to decide who might get the special slice with the fève or the little trinket. So those are the king's cakes. There's always a bit of fanfare. There's a special bag with handles. You get the crown. You get sometimes a complimentary bottle of champagne or cider, hard cider, which is common if you buy enough of those. So those are the king's cakes. And this is just one piece of the lovely market. Merci, madame. Merci beaucoup.
De rien, monsieur.
Bonne journée à vous.
Bonne journée à vous.
Look at this, beautiful. This is cheese, if you didn't make that already. That baker lady was very nice to me, all smiles. Hi, Lynn Wilson. I'm happy I'm back too. This place, Maison Belgique, they do Brittany-style crêpes, the crepes, sweet crepes and the galettes, the savory style. So, nice open kitchen, full transparency. Bonjour. Je vous filme pas, je filme juste les crêpes. Okay, merci beaucoup. I'm explaining I'm not filming her just in case. She says it's no problem. So she's sugaring one right now. Always the best crepes come from the traditional recipes of Breton, of Brittany. Often with a black and white color scheme. So there's that. I'm going to make my way through these kids on their little trottinettes, their little scooters. Little Portuguese corner. Seafood. So if you're just joining us, we're in the 16th arrondissement, a very local covered market of Passy, P-A-S-S-Y. Fish galore. Hi, Ellen Betancourt. I can see you there. Thank you for joining. This market's great. Look at that. A lot of good eye candy. We're in a very, very local part of the city now. We're in deep Passy. Not just the edge of Passy near Trocadero that some tourists will stumble upon, but we're fully deep inside the real Passy, the real 16th arrondissement. Look at those colors, my goodness. 170 of you already. I'm so glad to see that you're still around, even in 2019. Thank you so much for that. lobster tank. And we got a lot of other stuff to see, so we won't spend the whole time here in the market. Make my way through here. Look at these beauties. All the cured sausage you'd ever want. Bonjour. Ooh, look at these. Bonjour. Vous êtes sur Facebook? Je vous filme pas, je filme juste les produits, merci. Non, pas les produits non plus? Ah d'accord, c'est pas grave. Je suis en train de sortir. Merci, au revoir. That guy said that his boss doesn't approve or doesn't like filming. That's all right. We're on our way out. This is a florist in the corner. Always a florist in these covered markets. All right, let's go. That was the marché couvert de Passy. This florist spills out most days onto the sidewalk like that. All right, here we go. Hats, accessories. Make my way through here. DVDs. All right, here we are. Exterior shots. As I practice my walking backward skills, let me just show you the exterior of that market. It's funny, that market is very old school. During the weekdays, they close for 3 hours in the middle of the day because I guess even fishmongers and bakers need to eat their lunch. And then they'll open again at 4 p.m. and there's always a line at the 8 a.m. opening and the 4 p.m. opening. This place is called Aéro. It's at the start of a street that reminds me a lot of Rue Claire. If there are some fans of Rue Claire in the 7th Arrondissement, we're going to experience the Passy version of that, in my opinion. This place right here at the start of this street, which is called the Rue de l'Annonciation. Easy for me to say. This place, Aéro, is an interesting dichotomy because some reports say, oh, the service was bad and the food was crap, and then I've read other commentary where people say, this is the best quiche I've ever had in my life, and I come back as often as I possibly can. In particular, their quiche Lorraine, which is known for having chunks of ham or lardon inside. So if you're into quiche and you want a nice buttery, cheesy, melt-in-your-mouth version, apparently some people claim it can happen there at Aéro. Here we go. This is a great market pedestrian street. And I'm looking at the name of the street sign. I actually regret my bad pronunciation earlier. It's called the Rue de l'Annonciation. Hopefully I slightly redeemed myself there. Love this place, this organic produce market that I assume is relatively modern. Pardon, excusez-moi. Love what's going on there. The inside of this shop is fun too. Let me see if I can give you a quick look at that. Bonjour. Excusez-moi, est-ce que je pourrais filmer vite fait? Je vous filme pas, mais juste l'intérieur. Merci beaucoup. It's like you stumbled onto a farmer's market. It happens every day. Yeah, some people are saying it's blurry intermittently. I can't do much about that. I do my best to get a good signal. I am recording my screen though. I'm trying something different in 2019. Know that I'm doing a screen recording of my actual camera output here. So I might be able to post a more high def version of this very video. Keep an eye out for that. So don't worry too much if it's blurry. So look at the colors, right? I just showed you we were in that little shop, that bakery with the produce. And then here we've got all this bright, vibrant, colorful food. And then literally just behind me, we've got that. I mean, the same thing, just on and on and on. Somehow, they all stay in business. I assume that if you're a customer here and they get to know you, God forbid you ever come one day and actually buy your produce there. And, you know, God forbid they ever see you do that. That's a nice shot there, huh, Gosselin? Great. Natalie Hayes says, loving the street. It's great to have you here, Natalie. And Kay Perigo says, it's lovely to hear my voice. Oh, well, thank you very much. Luckily, my voice never goes blurry. It's just the image. All right, onward. Chisha. It's kind of a nice time of the day to be here because I feel like all the colors are really popping. Some paella there. If you can make that out. I'm sorry, there are broadcast interruptions according to the comments here. I'll be sure to get the high def version uploaded so you can watch the replay. This place looks pretty at dusk when it's lit up. This is a name that you might recognize if you've been through Paris. It's called Au Merveilleux de Fred. And these are the meringues. Let me try to give you a look. People crossing in front. Meringues covered in hand-whipped buttery cream and rolled in various nuts and chocolate flakes. They've always got a real pretty chandelier in most of their locations, at least, so that's what's going on there. So let's see what she's up to. This is a larger version. All of that beautiful hand-whipped cream. I showed you one of these locations of Au Merveilleux de Fred in my Marais video a while ago. Look at that. My goodness, you can't be on a diet, can you? Let me show you this view too. You know, they block this. This is always frosted here, so the people don't have to stare at the tourists. But here's the shop. Pretty. I like across the street too, this Pasta Vino, this Italian épicerie with the frontage here, the signage. I think it's quite nice. It's actually in relief. I'll show you that. All this great detail. Very congested at the moment, like across the street. There we go. Pasta Vino. Bob says they make it look so easy there with the meringues and the cream. They absolutely do, Bob. Think how many times they must do that just on an average day. Okay, I want to pop you into this little courtyard here. Let me show you the signage first. There's a furniture store, design furniture store called Bat, Sarah Lavoine. They've still got the holiday decorations at the entrance here, which I think are great. Diana says she's never gained an ounce while in Paris with all the walking. It's true, you can pretty much eat what you want here. Unless you're like me and you've lived here almost 9 years. I can tell you, I put on a little bit of holiday weight. But I've managed to trim down a little bit since, but I gotta be careful. Look at this place. So this is the furniture store that I'll show you a glimpse of first. But in front, bonjour. In front there's a pâtisserie. So they cook all these little treats and they make coffee inside of the store. And then here to the right of me is their little outdoor seating area. That's the furniture store there. Let's go ahead and see. We'll go inside until they kick us out, right? It's nice, isn't it? Paul, I just want to show you the treats. Real pretty shop. There's a lot of good shopping to be had here in Passy, actually. Just tucked away in this little courtyard. You can do some shopping and grab a drink or a snack at that pâtisserie. I'll show you the seating area as we exit. Feels like it used to be an old atelier or a studio or factory of some sort. Trying to hold the door open for someone here. All right, that's a cute little seating area. And I like this little nook too that runs along the store. Debbie, we're on the street that is the Rue de l'Annonciation. Look at these nice design lamps. Charlotte would like that, my wife. She's got a keen eye for those design type objects. Yeah, we'll make our way back out onto the main drag here. Beautiful, they brought all these trees in for the holidays. Cool, Patty Lindsay saying she loves this neighborhood. Great. My way through here. Pardon?
Sorry.
Merci.
Sorry.
And some real good window shopping here, like this place called Cézanne. It's a nice composition there, festive. Passy, this area used to be a lot like Montmartre, believe it or not. It used to be outside of Paris, about 3 miles outside the city, until the expansion of 1860. That included places like Montmartre and Montparnasse, and this area, Passy. So this used to be a country village, and I guess market streets like this are a throwback to that. This is from the 18th century, this building. And once the car passes, I'll get us a little closer to these carvings. I don't know if you've noticed yet, but technologically speaking, things are a little bit different in 2019. We're going widescreen today, wide angle, I should say. So I've got this nice wide angle lens to give you more of a broad panorama and hopefully a more of an immersive type of feel as we walk down the street here. Here's a great antique store that's worth a stop. It's always pretty when it's lit up at dusk like this. Susan Silverberg's asking, what landmark is this near? Well, here's sort of a landmark. This is a church called Notre-Dame de Grâce de Passy, Our Lady of Grace of Passy. But other than that, there aren't too many major monuments. We're west of Trocadero, but pretty far west of Trocadero. Our Lady of Grace of Passy. This is a church from the 17th through the 19th centuries. Let me cross over. We're going to go into that church real quick. But I want to show you the courtyard. My Friets, my Patreon supporters in our private Facebook group will recognize this from the video I posted yesterday, just to give you some context. So what is that? What is this courtyard? It's actually very unique. I was surprised when I came upon it. What we just saw to the left of us is the original church, 17th century. Eventually it was too small for the growing population, which was always quite common. Excuse me. And so they built this called La Nouvelle Église. It's from the mid-1900s. And I'm going to take you inside there if everything goes according to plan. And you'll be able to see that. It's interesting. We're going to see the old church and the modern church that runs right along it. Before we do, though, I love this detail. Look, every now and then when there's a flat wall, artists will come and they'll paint on it. And I think this is fantastic. It's a bit faded. I think it's been here for a while. But everything that you see here has been painted on. Natalie says she's loving the absence of crowds here. Absolutely. Also, Natalie, the absence of the gilets jaunes. You'll notice there are no yellow vests around here, and that was by design as well today. We're going deep into the 16th Arrondissement because I knew there wouldn't be any protesting or rioting or anything like that in this area. And you can see, I'm sure that stuff's happening right now on the Champs-Élysées, in front of Hôtel de Ville perhaps, tear gas and all of that good stuff. But in all these neighborhoods around the city, it's quiet. It's just Paris as usual. So I think it's important to portray that image, that reality of Paris, as well as what you see in the media. All right, here we go. Into not just the church, but the churches. Can't get in through these doors. Got to go in through the old one. And bonjour. I can't talk when I'm in the church. I've already been shushed once inside of this church in particular. So. Est-ce qu'on peut entrer par là ou c'est plutôt par l'ancienne église? Ok, merci monsieur. Some interesting architecture here. Boop. Right? And then more traditional is just in front of the church where we were earlier. I don't want you to miss that. Okay, here we go. Some of you have been complaining about the signal. So hopefully it will be all right in this church, and if it's not, I'll just move faster. But you can watch the replay in high def. Get out of here now. There we go. This is the new church from the mid 1900s. What a rare piece of the city that you could overlook so very easily. All right, moving on. So this is Our Lady of Grace of Passy. Brigitte Bardot, by the way, famous French actress, or Brigitte Bardot in French, I guess, was married in the older version of this church, the one that we're going to pass through to exit. Je peux? Non, je peux sortir par là? Merci, merci. Okay, we'll exit this way. Here we go. Merci, monsieur. Bonne journée. Au revoir. So yeah, in the old version of the church here, Brigitte Bardot married a director by the name of Vadim, I want to say. Yeah, Jennifer Warren says that second church is unusually modern. I agree. Fits up to 1,200 parishioners, 1,200 worshippers in that modern version. Let me take you behind this. And let me check on the time here. Okay, great. We're only 30 minutes in. So listen up. As for those of you who don't know, first of all, welcome. I see there are a few others who have added to the audience as we've gone. Corey Fry, full-time tour guide. I give these weekly live stream walks of Paris, mostly on Saturdays. to give you the experience of walking through Paris if you're not here in person, and pointing out points of interest and interesting anecdotes and bits of food and all that loveliness, and church bells. Let me show you the square behind the structure, which I quite like. I prefer to access the church via this, actually. And with a wide-angle lens, we can get all of it in, which is nice. Remember I mentioned that Passy, this area, used to be a village with hills and orchards and vineyards and windmills and stone quarries and all that good stuff. And so little squares like this with the church and the benches and the trees really remind me of that and show you a glimpse of what this was like, even though now I got to say this is a chichi and very expensive area, and it's high-end shopping, and it's, you know, high-end residential areas. But if you know where to go, you can find surely some of those little glimpses of the countryside, however small they may be. So we're about 30 minutes in. Soon I'm going to be wrapping up this public walk, and then my supporters on Patreon are going to get access to an extended version of this tour and a Café Chat. I got something fun planned for the Café Chat, actually. There won't be a guest today, but I brought something along with me that I want to share with you, and I think it'll be fun to talk about. Okay, let me go through here. There's some cute little shops. Old school. Tissue fabric. And I want to give you just a glimpse of this residence here. It's like a garden courtyard for this small complex of apartment buildings. Again, perhaps a little glimpse of the old country village atmosphere that Passy was once known for. This area of Passy also had freshwater springs of mineral water that, of course, had curative properties and were very medicinal. So tourists and locals came here to be, you know, cured and aided and take baths in those mineral waters. So a little moment of calm and a moment of green in this otherwise pretty busy neighborhood of Passy. I don't want to be indiscreet, but I noticed behind me there's a door of a studio of some sort. So let's just be a little bit voyeuristic and see what's going on there. Interesting. Something tells me there's been a studio there with craftsmen and craftswomen for a long, long time. Gretchen's asking if the mineral waters are still there. Essentially, no, Gretchen. There was so much development once this became part of Paris after 1860, the expansion. Those freshwater springs are essentially gone, although on the edge of Paris in this Arrondissement you can find some kind of fresh spring water well that people can still drink from. I'm trying to remember the name. If it comes to me later, I'll share it with you. Okay, let me show you one or two more final things. These walks always take a little longer than I planned because I get so excited I want to cram in another thing and another thing and another thing, but let's cross the street here. There's a real pretty cafe that I posted on Facebook today called La Favorite. There are 2 or 3 of them in Paris. I don't know if they're all owned by the same conglomerate or the same person. I'll show you a real nice view of this one across the street. Pardon? Thanks, Gretchen. I'm glad you're finding this interesting. Very pleased. Let me show you, try to find a composition right about there above the van. I had a coffee there yesterday. It was the hottest cup of coffee I've ever had, so I guess that's got something going for it. And, you know, the quality was pretty decent too. La Favorite. Here on the Rue de Passy. This is a street named after the neighborhood itself, the Rue de Passy. So for the public walk, the public broadcast here, I'm going to show you one last little spot that will be indicative of the village history here. And then we'll do the private extension of the walk for my frites in our Facebook group. If you want to be a friet, if you want to be a Patreon member and get access to extended walks and café chats and other content, but you'll find the link in the description of this replay when it's posted on Facebook. Patreon.com. Diana says if she was here, she'd buy me a coffee. Before we go into this little alleyway to finish the walk, look at this. Here's an old painted sign of what, you know, there was a poll recently for people learning French. And the poll, the question was, what are the hardest words in French to pronounce if you're a non-native speaker? And the winner, I believe, in one poll was this word here. It's where they make keys and locks and like a locksmith store. And I'm going to do my best here to pronounce what many people think is the hardest word to pronounce in French. It's a serrurerie. Serrurerie. So you really get a workout there with the R's, the letter R in the back of your throat. You native speakers, including Charlotte, my wife, you can let me know how I did with that pronunciation. This is the Impasse des Carrières, which means the dead end of the stone quarries. And it used to lead hundreds of years ago to the stone quarries of Passy. Just like Montmartre, right? There are a lot of parallels where they dig underground here under the hills, and they'd get the limestone in particular to help build Paris. Perhaps some gypsum stone as well. So let's start here to the right. We've got a fancy, cute little restaurant here. Little courtyard. Let me try to back up here and just give you an idea of a bit of a cottage village vibe, as I said earlier. Thanks, Phyllis. I'm glad you've enjoyed this version of Paris, this section of Paris. This is kind of fun here. I'm bouncing off of twigs here, but for what I can assume is holiday decoration, let me see if I can reach through. They put decorative plastic apples. Oh, Corey. Here, where can we hang that? Where can we hang this? There we go. Okay, so my point is, as I destroyed the local decoration, fake ones, but these are real. They decided to add some real apples as well. Thought that was fun. I don't want to bother the folks in here, but look at this cute little horlogerie where they're working on clocks, watches, perhaps. A little hand-painted signage on front, and I just think it's really cute. No bigger than that. Little atelier. And then on this side, there's an old antique store. I talked to the gentleman yesterday who owns it. He said, you're only allowed to film or photograph from here. You can't get any closer because there's a gate here that closes off this alley. He's like, outside the gate, it's Paris. It's a free world. You can do what you want from there, but please don't get any closer. But what I can do is show you. It used to be a barn, he told me. Since like the 1830s, it was a barn. You had animals roaming around here, goats, cows, horses, and they covered it up, and now it's a beautiful antique store. I wish I could take you through there, but just know that it's here at the Impasse des Carrières. There's a nice little bit of architecture there too. So for Passy, you come here to Passy, you can find markets, you can find high-end shopping, you can find a church or two. You can find a little bit of the village vibe if you know where to look. It's got a lot going for it, and it's very, very local. There are some hotels around here as well, so you might consider that if you're looking for an alternative place to stay. Look at this composition with the great old lamp posts. I like this detail too. One of the old address plaques, hand painted. If we can get close enough for you to see that. Number 2, Impasse des Carrières. The little alleyway of the stone quarries. So there we have it. That's me, if you didn't know what I looked like. And let me get composition here to say goodbye to you all. So this is going to be the end of the public version of this live stream walk through Paris. I hope you enjoyed it. You can watch the replay here on Facebook. I'm going to try to upload, maybe in a few hours' time later tonight, upload a higher definition version in case some parts were blurry. And so check that out, and all the links that you need to follow me, my photography on Instagram, Patreon. You can book a tour with me in Paris. I give guided tours all the time in person, so keep that in mind. And I won't ramble on any longer. I want to mention that our book club for our private Patreon people, it's a good alliteration there, is going to happen next Saturday with Christina Consolet. Everyone's been reading that great book by Julia Child called My Paris Life. I hope I'm not mistaking that. My Life in France, perhaps? Anyway, they're doing the book club discussion online. Wherever you are, if you've read that book or you can read it in a week's time, then you can discuss it with Christina and all the other freaks who have been part of that book club. And then lastly, in 2019, I want to end each video with a bit of a French fun fact, something to digest, something to chew on until next time. I don't know why, but in French culture, the Smurfs are called les Schtroumpfs. And I've always thought that was hilarious. I don't know the origin of that. To me, it sounds kind of German, les Schtroumpfs. But my wife, who's this petite little thing, when she mentioned that to me the first time years ago when we were dating, oh yeah, les Schtroumpfs. This is the way that it came out of her mouth. I thought was hilarious. So that's a little sort of French fun fact that you can meditate on for the rest of the day. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll catch you on the next video. Now, if you're a Patreon member, if you're part of our private Café Chat group, pop over there in a couple of minutes. I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes to pop over there and refresh the page from time to time, and you'll see the extension. I'm going to continue this walk, and we're going to do a Café Chat and have a discussion, okay? Got a beautiful Art Nouveau building that I want to show you privately, my Patreon folks, my supporters, show you around the corner here. It's a gorgeous masterpiece. So anyway, have a good day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.